Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? What is going on? Pop up live for you guys tonight. It's good to see you if you've made it, if you were able to see the notification in time. But I'm going to give myself a pause here and let you guys gather up and join the session. So, I wanted to start this. If you're watching this on a replay, then you'll be able to catch it. But I wanted to have this session tonight because I had an email from a subscriber and they were confused because they had an attachment style that they felt was once anxious preoccupied, but they have now become avoidant. This is something that I've seen a lot. Um, you have to understand about attachment styles. You have the baseline that was formed in your childhood, but it can change with different life experiences. It can be something that's kind of it ebb and flows. So if you were someone that you felt was once anxious, preoccupied, and you turn avoidant, that could change. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause for the calls here. Thank you for being here today. Let me know who you are. Share the feed. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor, bounce over to the YouTube feed. Trying to help me out, helps me boost the analytics, get more people in the room, get more questions asked. And this is actually an open live session tonight. I usually do for subscribers only, but I think this is something that's important for people to understand. And another more housekeeping. I'm starting a coaching group, and this is something I talked about in my last video. If you haven't seen the last video, I'm pretty sure that it was uh He Won't Commit was the title. And go back, check that video out. I'm going to release the link for the join I guess the joining website. I've created the website. I'm, working with my assistant, trying to get things moving forward to give you this affordable option to have one-on-one coaching with me, or you can have some questions asked in a weekly or bi-weekly group format. So is it possible for your attachment style to change? Yes, it is. And the reason being is, if you were someone who was once an anxious preoccupied and you consistently gotten yourself in relationship after relationship that ended up being unhealthy, not working out, where the person may have had some, unhealthy traits, they may have been, what they call toxic, or if they had high narcissism, you will become uncertain about how you, I guess, let down your walls and are able to relax yourself in relationships. You become very reluctant. Like this, I see this too with people who have been through divorce, people who have struggled to find someone who wanted to commit to them. It's pretty common for a person to have an attachment style to change. Hey, Christy. This is the original fidget spinner right here. I got the OG fidget spinners. Do anxious, preoccupied, commonly social media talk the dumpy, even if they dumper are in a rebound relationship? Yes. Anxious, preoccupied are more prone to live in that hopeful state during the grieving process, and or always keeping a door open for that person. I see pretty often that they are people who, as anxious, preoccupied myself, are in recovery, that struggles the most with stopping their loyalty, or ending that loyalty to the person that they were with. I tell people all the time that um, if you're not careful about not setting the boundaries in a healthy manner, or cutting off total communication with that person, you're going to keep yourself mentally in a relationship but physically single with that person. And that's something that's not healthy. It's going to prevent you from moving on. um, Anxious, preoccupied people are more prone to the breadcrumbing that can happen after a breakup. But if there's someone that has turned dismissive, it's kind of like holding the horses at the gates in a relationship, where they are so nervous or so scared to completely give themselves and completely give their all because they've been hurt over and over again. Now, anxious, preoccupied people are people that will also stick around in relationships that tend to be more codependent, more unhealthy, because they have hope that that person may eventually change. And all it takes for a person to keep them with them is, after a bad dispute or something, is a a set of roses, or for them to do something thoughtful for them to get them back in that good standings in the relationship. I'm such an anxious, preoccupied, and want to be secure. So I was actually just posted a TikTok and a Instagram post about this, where I talk about the standardized tests that are offered right now online. People have these these quick quizzes, there are these quick tests that you can take to see what your attachment style is. And I've seen more times than not, and I've taken several of them myself, that they can be, if not confusing, but also inaccurate, because your attachment style is it's not black and white. It's a percentage based. You can have 30% secureness and 20% dismissiveness, and the rest you don't have to. I don't even have to speak about the rest, and it changes. So if you were in a relationship with someone that was more avoidant and you were more anxious, it's like a tug of war. They're going to pull you more insecure. So you can be someone that was 50% secure going into a relationship, but if you get in a relationship with an avoidant or someone who's fearful and has a lot of ambivalence, you don't know whether they're coming or going, then you'll end up being insecure yourself. So it's important that we, I don't know. I know people want to give chances. I'm all about trying to make any and every relationship work if it's possible. I never condone staying in a relationship where you're not getting your needs met, meaning a person is very what would that be? Self-absorbed, or if they are gaslighty, if they're insecure themselves, like jealous. I'm someone that understands totally that if you're in a relationship with someone that's anxious, preoccupied, it's usually an unpleasant experience, because there's a counselor that told me once that when you have anxiety in a relationship, that relationship now has three people: you, the other person, and that anxiety that just drives a wedge in between you. What's up, Coach? My name is David. I recently emailed you and just wanted to thank you for the advice. You got it, brother. If you guys are interested in email coaching, I have that. I can actually put the website up here. And I'm more interested in pushing my coaching group these days because I feel this is my baby here. My first business actually was mentoring at-risk youth, and I would run coaching groups or mentoring groups every single day. And I feel that it's very beneficial when you can get other people's life experiences in the room, get them talking, get them engaged. And I can answer all these questions like I'm doing right now in this live session. And we're going to be doing Zoom. I already figured out what format I want to use. We want to do Zoom. And right now I'm only doing females or women, but I'm going to extend to men, because there are certain ways that we communicate that are different. And I want to make sure that I'm able to, help with that the best way possible. Is it common anxious, preoccupied, self-sabotage the relationship once honeymoon phase ends and they notice space beginning? It is very common for that to happen. And usually it's when that power struggle phase starts to kind of present itself. Once the relationship naturally starts to become less intense, that's when anxious, preoccupied people start to actually panic, because they have this idea that relationships should be always intense, always intense, always loving. The honeymoon phase is never supposed to end, but that's not actually healthy. The relationship is supposed to evolve, it's supposed to recreate itself. And if it doesn't, then you'll have a situation where you are pretending all the time. Let's say you first start dating each other and you're seeing each other 5 times a week, which is, I think, is extreme. You do never want to see each other 5 times a week. And it starts to dwindle back to 3 times and then 2 times, maybe once. Depending on the reasons why this happens, anxious, preoccupied people can really lose it. That will trigger them. That will be something that they'll start to do little negative behaviors, maybe like speak kind of passive aggressively, or make the person feel guilty for not being able to see them more, or having them live up to a standard that they were living up to the first month of the relationship. It's always going to change. And it's really important for you guys to realize that as anxious, preoccupied people. And then it gives you the opportunity to learn how to self-soothe yourself and not need someone constantly being in communication with you, constantly making you feel comfortable about the relationship. That's just something that gets very exhausting. I'm the one in a long distance relationship. Okay, yeah, we talked about, or I gave you advice about, long distance relationships and just how difficult it is to maintain a long distance relationship if you're doing it for long periods of time. Now if this is something that where you're kind of still going through the courtship, still understanding, getting to learn each other, if you guys are having quality time, Zoom calls or FaceTime calls, WhatsApp, whatever it may be, then that's something that's going to give you a little bit more chances. But at the same time, you're also going to work on getting in the same city, having some type of plan put in place that's going to give you a deadline. And that's kind of when you'll see who is real and who's the pretenders, because a lot of the times when you present that opportunity, hey, I got the job in your city, or I got approved for the apartment in your city, that's when you start to see who is real and who is going to not run away, because that's when you'll see the avoidance start to get cold feet. And I've even seen people who are fearful, that were once really intense about it, start to get cold feet and pull away themselves. So yeah, appreciate that email. That's going to help a lot of people. If two preoccupied go into a relationship, does one of them turn avoidant? You answered that question yourself, Gigi. Yes. Usually one of them starts to demand more, and the other one starts to feel like this is just a little bit too much. Because usually you see a lot of jealousy and a lot of insecurity in those relationships. And those are the relationships that are very deeply romantic and deeply intense. And some people glamorize those relationships. Those are two people that are posting all the time. They're doing this and they're doing that. And eventually the relationship starts to get, the deepening stage. And it's almost like you have to be on your game all the time, either one of you. And when a person falls off, honestly, I see those relationships as being very volatile. I see those relationships being ones that are kind of superficial. They need a lot of different validations from the outside world. And it's something that's not really sustainable. One person usually turns avoidant. So there's that. They become less. I don't know if, let me think about this here. I don't know if one of them will turn more secure quicker, or if this will help them turn more secure quick. but usually not. They are pretty intense though. I coached a couple people who had anxious preoccupied attachments, and it was kind of like a lot of off and on, a lot of deep, like really unhealthy fights happening, lots of insecurity, and then the relationships usually ended that way. While you work out, that's what's up. Working on yourself. Any more questions? We're heading up to 15-minute mark. Appreciate you guys being here. You could be anywhere on this Wednesday night, but you decide, or morning over across seas, across the pond. You could be anywhere right now, but you chose to tune in with me, and I appreciate that. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor and bounce over here and give this feed a like. If you're enjoying this content, you can get more people in here. Please give this feed a like. Appreciate you guys very much for that. And let me check this here real quick. I want to make sure where the likes are at. I really wish I could stop and like play music and stuff. That'd be cool. I need someone. If you guys are good at doing these live sessions, reach out to me and let me know what you offer. If we can get this feed a little bit more engaged. What I used to do was when people ask questions, I used to put the question up on the screen, but I stopped doing that because I wanted to keep people's privacy. When you're watching a replay, I don't want people seeing, oh, who is this person asking questions? And just don't want to put people's business out there. That's one thing I learned early on, that privacy is very important and having people feel comfortable and safe in the community. Also, I have a Discord server that I'm starting for communication for people who are going to be in the group, the coaching group. Email me. I got my email right there. And we're going to get this thing going. All right. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to be able to help as many people as I can. But I'm going to end it at that. I already answered the question for you. If you're just coming in here, the question was, can your attachment style change? Can you become an avoidant if you were once anxious preoccupied? And the answer is yes, you can, because life experiences, being in relationships with people who kind of made you have to learn new behaviors in order to make the relationship work. Let's say it's something intense though. Usually it's getting out of relationships, having relationship that didn't work out, or being in a relationship with someone with really unhealthy qualities, like a toxic person or someone high levels of narcissism. Then you become a little bit more fearful about having that commitment. I just wrote a quote about this on Instagram, and the quote, see if I can find it real quick. If you guys aren't following me, I'm on Instagram. My screen name is _Coach Court. And the quote that I wrote was, the idea of spending the rest of your life with someone may sound scary, so let's focus on making the next week with them pleasant. AKA, let's focus on living in the moment, living in the present moment, and not worrying about what's going to happen a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now. And then we can go from there. That's what it's all about, because people are going to come and go out in your life, and that's okay. It's important that you focus on what they brought to your life in that moment, how satisfied you were, how fulfilled you were. And sometimes the relationship don't work out, more times than not. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Namaste. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night, rest of your day, or if you're over across the pond, good morning. I love you guys. Go be love, and you'll never have to find it. Peace.